What's a philanthropic project?
It helps people and the planet.
Why do people do philanthropy?
To make the world better.
How can we help others?
Through charity and kindness.
What's a project for kids?
Giving books to schools.
Why is helping important?
It shows we care.
What's a project for animals?
Building shelters for pets.
How do we support nature?
Plant trees and clean parks.
What's a project for the sick?
Giving toys to hospitals.
Why do we give to others?
It makes us happy.
What's a project for the hungry?
Giving food to the needy.
How can we help the environment?
Recycling and reducing waste.
What's a project for seniors?
Visiting nursing homes.
Why do we share our things?
To help those in need.
What's a project for education?
Building schools in villages.
How do we spread kindness?
With smiles and good deeds.
What's a project for clean water?
Digging wells in dry areas.
Why do we donate money?
To support causes we love.
What's a project for safety?
Teaching road rules to kids.
How can we help disaster victims?
Sending supplies and aid.
What's a project for art?
Giving art supplies to schools.
Why do we volunteer time?
To help without expecting.
What's a project for clean air?
Planting gardens in cities.
How can we help kids learn?
Donating books and computers.
What's a project for equality?
Promoting fairness and rights.
Why do we care for animals?
They are part of our world.
What's a project for homes?
Building houses for the homeless.
How can we assist refugees?
Providing clothes and support.
What's a project for peace?
Organizing peace events.
Why do we clean up beaches?
To protect ocean life.
What's a project for wellness?
Holding health workshops.
How can we help endangered species?
Supporting wildlife organizations.
What's a project for culture?
Preserving traditions and art.
Why do we support education?
It empowers future generations.
What's a project for gardens?
Creating community green spaces.
How can we help people in poverty?
Donating clothes and food.
What's a project for forests?
Planting trees to combat deforestation.
Why do we donate toys?
To bring joy to children.
What's a project for technology?
Providing computers to schools.
How can we help animals in need?
Volunteering at animal shelters.
What's a project for healthcare?
Building clinics in rural areas.
Why do we support local communities?
It builds strong neighborhoods.
What's a project for clean oceans?
Organizing beach clean ups.
How can we help hungry families?
Donating to food banks.
What's a project for cultural exchange?
Connecting people from different places.
Why do we donate blood?
To save lives in emergencies.
What's a project for disabled people?
Creating accessible spaces.
How can we help during emergencies?
Donating to relief organizations.
What's a project for mental health?
Raising awareness and support.
Why do we support clean energy?
To protect our planet.
What's a project for community gardens?
Growing fresh food together.
How can we help refugees settle?
Providing language classes and jobs.
What's a project for arts education?
Giving music and art lessons.
Why do we rescue animals?
To give them a better life.
What's a project for disaster readiness?
Teaching safety tips to families.
How can we help endangered animals?
Supporting conservation efforts.
What's a project for renewable energy?
Installing solar panels in schools.
Why do we help the sick?
It shows compassion and care.
What's a project for supporting families?
Offering parenting classes and resources.
How can we help promote equality?
Advocating for fair laws and rights.
What's a project for water conservation?
Promoting wise water usage.
Why do we rescue pets?
They become part of families.
What's a project for disaster relief?
Sending aid after earthquakes and floods.
How can we help people with disabilities?
Creating ramps and accessible spaces.
What's a project for medical care?
Offering free health check-ups.
Why do we help seniors?
To show respect and support.
What's a project for eco-friendly living?
Teaching recycling and reducing waste.
How can we help kids in need?
Donating school supplies and clothes.
What's a project for cultural preservation?
Documenting traditions and stories.
Why do we clean up parks?
To enjoy clean and green spaces.
What's a project for education in remote areas?
Providing books and teachers.
How can we help refugees find jobs?
Offering job training and placements.
What's a project for wildlife protection?
Building habitats for endangered animals.
Why do we support medical research?
To find cures for diseases.
What's a project for sustainable farming?
Teaching farmers eco-friendly practices.
How can we help girls and boys learn?
Donating school supplies and books.
What's a hobby?
Fun things we love to do.
Why do we have hobbies?
They make us happy and relaxed.
What's a hobby for weekends?
Painting pictures with bright colors.
How do hobbies help us?
They let us express our creativity.
What's a hobby with friends?
Playing soccer in the park.
Why do we need hobbies?
They give us a break from work.
What's a hobby at home?
Building castles with toy blocks.
How can hobbies be active?
Dancing and jumping like superheroes.
What's a hobby for thinking?
Solving puzzles and brain games.
Why are hobbies important?
They bring joy to our lives.
What's a hobby using words?
Writing stories with imagination.
How can hobbies be outdoors?
Riding bikes and exploring nature.
What's a hobby for making things?
Crafting necklaces from beads.
Why do we share hobbies?
It helps us connect with friends.
What's a hobby for rainy days?
Reading books with exciting adventures.
How can hobbies help our skills?
Practicing makes us better at them.
What's a hobby for singing?
Singing songs with a happy tune.
Why do we need free time?
To relax and enjoy hobbies.
What's a hobby for exploring?
Going on treasure hunts outside.
How can hobbies make us creative?
We can make new things ourselves.
What's a hobby with colors?
Painting pictures with bright shades.
Why is play important?
It helps us learn and grow.
What's a hobby for growing plants?
Taking care of a garden.
How can hobbies be about music?
Playing drums and making rhythms.
What's a hobby for being quiet?
Reading books in a cozy spot.
Why do we do hobbies alone?
To enjoy our special time.
What's a hobby for helping others?
Making cards for sick friends.
How can hobbies be about learning?
Discovering new facts and skills.
What's a hobby with paper?
Folding origami animals and shapes.
Why do we practice hobbies?
So we can get better.
What's a hobby for building?
Making houses with blocks.
How can hobbies be peaceful?
Coloring pictures with calm colors.
What's a hobby with numbers?
Counting and sorting colorful beads.
Why do we need to have fun?
It makes us feel happy.
What's a hobby for being active?
Playing tag and running races.
How can hobbies be about cooking?
Baking cookies and making treats.
What's a hobby for drawing?
Sketching animals and scenes.
Why do we love hobbies?
They make our hearts smile.
What's a hobby for weekends?
Riding bikes in the sunshine.
How can hobbies be about nature?
Collecting leaves and rocks.
What's a hobby for helping pets?
Walking dogs in the park.
Why do we share our hobbies?
To show what we enjoy.
What's a hobby for playing pretend?
Being pirates with toy swords.
How can hobbies be about fashion?
Dressing up in colorful clothes.
What's a hobby for being with family?
Playing board games together.
Why do we try new hobbies?
To discover what we like.
What's a hobby for telling stories?
Using puppets for fun tales.
How can hobbies be about technology?
Playing educational games on tablets.
What's a hobby for imagination?
Building forts from blankets.
Why is having hobbies good?
They make our lives interesting.
What's a hobby for dancing?
Moving to music and having fun.
How can hobbies be about science?
Doing simple experiments at home.
What's a hobby for exploring nature?
Going on hikes and discovering bugs.
Why do we need to play?
It helps our minds relax.
What's a hobby for building models?
Putting together airplanes and cars.
How can hobbies be about animals?
Caring for pet rabbits and cats.
What's a hobby for making art?
Drawing pictures with bright markers.
Why do hobbies make us happy?
They fill our hearts with joy.
What's a hobby for writing stories?
Creating adventures with a pen.
How can hobbies be about friendship?
Sharing games and laughs with pals.
What's a hobby for playing indoors?
Building towers with blocks.
Why do we need hobbies?
They help us relax and unwind.
What's a hobby for being with friends?
Playing catch in the park.
How can hobbies be about learning?
Reading books about space and stars.
What's a hobby for being outdoors?
Flying kites on a sunny day.
Why do hobbies make us smile?
They bring us joy and happiness.
What's a hobby for creating things?
Making friendship bracelets with beads.
How can hobbies be about food?
Baking cookies and cupcakes.
What's a hobby for making art?
Painting pictures with bright colors.
Why do we need hobbies?
They let us express ourselves.
What's a hobby for building things?
Constructing houses with blocks.
How can hobbies be about music?
Playing the piano and singing songs.
What's a hobby for being active?
Playing soccer and running races.
Why do we share hobbies?
To connect with friends and family.
What's a hobby for weekends?
Going swimming and having fun.